Blacksmith, stand up. Welcome back to another episode of the Bronze Room. I'm your host, Big Bro Chris, coming in live once again for a great episode that we got lined up for you. Alongside of me, I got my wonderful co-host, Miss Joy.
Hey, what up, blacksmiths? How y'all feeling? What's goody?
And then
Peace and blessings.
we also have our wonderful co-host, LGZ.
Oh,
Yo, what's up? Glad to be
Hey.
back for another week. I'm loving these conversations.
Yeah.
Glad to have you, brother.
Bronze Room is back in full effect. We are glad that you came in and joined us for yet another one. Come on in, kick up your feet, and let's get it going. First up for today is our famous, infamous segment, On This Day. And today is November 27th. On this day in 1493, Christopher Columbus was met with a rebellion at one of the first colonies to be established on his discovery. I put that in air quotes of the new land, of the new continent. He had set up shop on Haiti with a colony called La Navidad, and in 1493, the Taino people, which is the group of people that was indigenous to that land, they had an uprising against the Spanish rule, and it will be the first of many. Unfortunately, the many that would take place afterwards would not be as successful, as the colonial rule would bring in more forces, more terror, and centuries more of oppression. But we can, I guess, celebrate in this day where the indigenous people stood up and said, "Stop that shit." They put an end to it. In Haiti, it's no surprise that Haiti was one of the first Caribbean islands to earn their independence 3 decades later, in the late 1700s. So shout out to Haiti for being the first example to how one group of people might overcome a colonizer.
Yeah, they're strong people, and they have been through it, but they are strong, and I admire them. So yes, I love that.
Yeah. They're still going through a lot of poverty over on that country. They've been hit hard with earthquakes that have devastated their whole infrastructure. That they're still recovering from.
Yeah.
I know they were robbed by the Clinton Foundation, who had raised a bunch of money to go over there and help them, but that money, of course, never made it.
What?
Yeah, that's a big scandal that got talked about a little bit during Hillary Clinton's campaign for presidency. But yeah. But also on this day, we have a couple of birthdays. First and foremost, we'll go with who's older. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was born. I'm sorry, not born, but yeah, I'm sorry. He was born November 27th in 1940. 1940.
Wow.
And he, as many of us are aware of, he will go on to live a beautiful life and a beautiful career in martial arts, and he would become the icon that people to this day, and I'm sure for many decades and centuries after us, will continue to celebrate this man and all his accomplishments. He only made about, I want to say, 6 or 7 films, but
only.
Well, I mean, compared to like people like Jackie Chan, who have made hundreds of movies.
That's true.
He didn't get too far, but I mean, honestly, I say that to give him even more flowers, because although he was only on this earth for a total of 33 years, I think it's 33 or 32. He was able to
Wow.
make a huge impact that changed the whole
Mm.
world of martial arts and film, action films as we know them today.
Yeah, you are absolutely right about that. We have people quoting him. I see quotes and memes with him everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Artists still recreating pictures. So, yeah, his techniques
yeah,
still being used. So, living on. That's what we were just talking about, when LJ was talking about the two deaths. And,
hmm
when people still talk about you, that's how you still live on.
yeah.
But you're right. That just goes to show the impact that one human being can have.
Right, right.
Yeah.
He sent waves throughout this ocean that we call life.
Yes.
So, you know, we want to give flowers to Mr. Bruce Lee on this day. We also want to give flowers to Mr. Jimi Hendrix, who was born today in 1942.
Wow.
Um,
Wow. Okay.
before his early and premature death, at the age of 28, it looks like, he would send waves throughout the world of music, as a badass guitarist and a hell of an artist. Um, Jimi Hendrix changed the game of rock and roll on many fronts. So, we want to give him his flowers. I'm still waiting on that
Yes.
biopic to come out. They talked about maybe 10 years ago Andre 3000 playing that role.
I can
Um,
see that.
and yeah, I think we could all see it because
Mm,
he
yeah.
there's no doubt in my mind he would do that role justice. Um, at least on the image front. You know what I mean? They have a
Yeah.
lot of similarities in just their style, and
Yes.
fashion.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. I would love to see it if it did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, yeah.
That would be good though. That's gonna be a good biopic.
Yeah, it would be. And I haven't really done any research after hearing this, but I was talking to an old head the other day. And he was saying that Jimi Hendrix died pretty miserably.
Really?
I believe he died of a drug overdose, but this old head in particular, again, I don't know if it's true or not, said that he had a lot of pain in his life,
Mm.
specifically from being biracial. I didn't know that he was biracial. Is he?
Mm.
Does anybody know? LJ, can you fact check me on that?
No,
Um,
but he.
I wasn't aware that he was biracial, but what the old head might have been alluding to more so than his race was that he was trying to play two. He was trying to be accepted by two different worlds. In the
Oh,
world of rock and roll, um, and by his white
yeah.
audiences, but he was also trying to fit into the black world, I guess, which
And
was a
still be
little,
accepted by his community.
yeah.
Yeah. I
And
can
so,
actually see that being, a conflict.
yeah. Um, and so I, you know, uh,
Oh yeah.
what does that read? Because I'm, a little
Hendrix had
older,
an
just a little bit.
Hendrix had an African American and Irish ancestry. His paternal grandfather, Bertrand Philander Ross Hendrix, was born 1866. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So he was biracial.
Yeah.
African
So,
American and Irish. Okay.
and I've
Wow.
I've often heard that reality from biracial people. It's like, hey, I don't fit into either group, and as a result, it leads to a lot of isolation and depression. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely a topic that we can maybe talk about at some point down
Yeah.
the road. But yeah, well, I just want to shed light on the life of Jimi Hendrix, his birthday
Yay.
specifically, and uh, and yeah, that's been on this day.
Yay. I love when we give people their flowers. I love that. Those two definitely deserve it.
100%, 100%. LJ, do you have any commentary on any of these men and how they may or may not have influenced your life, of your appreciation of martial arts or rock and roll or music as a whole?
Yeah, okay. I love Jimi Hendrix music. He had some really great classics that got resampled over time. A lot of times we don't realize that when we hear some of these some songs in movies that don't even have bronze people in them, they are using our songs to score, a lot of those films. And I remember early on, what's that song? It was like a rock song. What was a Jimi Hendrix song? But Foxy was like, man, you
Fox.
just a heartbreaker. Foxy. That song was played so many times in the '90s in different films, and hats off to him. He definitely revolutionized the guitar instrument. He was a master at the guitar, and he was one of the earliest, I guess, artists to bring in psychedelics, as to really like promote it in the way that he did his stuff. Actually, a story that I know of that I heard before was that a lot of times we see these pictures of Jimi Hendrix. He was wearing this headband, and apparently before he would perform, he'd take a razor blade and he'd slit his forehead, right, and then he would put acid in his over those cuts, and then he'd have the bandana over it.
Damn, he was not playing.
He wasn't fucking around.
He wasn't playing, man. Like
he said that shit gonna go straight into the bloodstream.
Yeah. And then, I mean, if you think about the time when he was coming up, the whole Woodstock era, that whole peace, love, sex, rock and roll, all that stuff he was at the forefront of that,
Yeah. So he was definitely, he had a funky style too.
Yeah. And what a lot of people don't know is that he started his career in Ron Isley's band as one of Ron Isley's backup guitarists. So I think that he's definitely a super legend. So hats off to him. And, Bruce Lee, be like water, my friends. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
Thank you for enlightening us on those details, LJ, for real. Yeah. As we've said here before, it should be no surprise to learn that a bronze man or woman was a pioneer in any field that we might cover. Right. In all fields that we cover, you already know a bronze man or woman was there doing it first and leading the way. So, sooner or later, we're going to get tired of carrying the team on our backs.
We invented it.
And letting everybody, profit and come up on our creativity. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to move on to the next subject. Because I know y'all don't want to talk about that. So, in the news this week, might have been early last week or late last week, there was a Balenciaga ad campaign that came under fire. It was released, I believe, in early October. And it featured photos of toddlers holding teddy bears that were sporting or donning BDMS wear. Did I say that? BDMSM? BDMS? BDSM?
BDSM, yeah.
BDSM wear, such as collars, such as mesh vests, such as cuffs and whatnot. It's just, some of wearing very adult things. And not only that, but they also came under fire for a particular photo in their ad campaign, sporting or, showing a purse that sat on a bunch of court documents. Upon extensive review of those court documents, it was later found out that the documents were from a famous case in 2008. It was a Supreme Court case, the U.S. versus Williams, in which the court upheld laws that prevented child pornography from being distributed or traded, exchanged, etc. And yeah, the company's been under fire. They've apologized since then, of course.
That's not good enough.
Yeah, it's not good enough for me either.
Apology, y'all need to be canceled. Y'all need to be X'd out. Everybody needs to be fired like today. Like it needs to be perished.
Yeah.
It needs to be done.
Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, y'all done already said y'all don't give a fuck about the children after these children have been, well, we're going to talk about that anyway, but children being killed in schools. But why didn't y'all just get some adults to wear it? Why did y'all get children? Sorry is not good enough when this is something that was like so well planned out. Like y'all wrote like a little treatment for this.
Right.
There had to be a treatment for this to be written out for y'all to like actually put this out. Somebody had to write it. It had to be approved by several heads. Like a top head had to approve it. And then y'all got these court documents, and y'all know folks is finna zoom in online. You know, people had the phone and was like,
you're right. You're absolutely right. So that's where my vitriol and my resentment for this company is coming from as well, from that same angle. Now you could argue. Okay, so let me fill you guys in on actually a couple more details. So since the ad campaign has come under fire, Balenciaga has decided to file a lawsuit worth $25 million for two defendants. One of the defendants is the set dresser for that ad campaign. The other, I believe, is the ad agency that they went through in order to make the campaign itself. So they're trying to distance themselves from accountability on that end, claiming not negligence but ignorance to being a part of, or ignorance that those images were going to have such a connection to such an illicit act. But to me, that's not good enough.
ignorance.
Yeah, right. You can't claim ignorance to that's a multi-billion-dollar company.
You chose children.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Y'all knew, like y'all literally could have said no before it happened. No, don't get mad at the set person. Y'all had a vision for the brand. Right. This is still y'all brand, and you still choose what direction you want the brand to go in. Exactly. So, try again, buddy.
Right.
Try again. Right.
Yeah.
That's not good enough. We got a long list of shit, but no, matter of fact, just cancel your fucking selves. It's disgusting. Now, I don't like that ET, you know what? Let me check myself.
Well, what about ET? I like ET. What are you talking about?
Although I don't agree with everything Candace Owens says, I watched that video.
Go ahead. You know what? I mean, I'm going to just add this quick little input and then I'm out. I've been watching Candace Owens content as of late, and I'm starting
don't lose a friend in me. Don't lose a friend in me.
I'm starting to lend my ear to her because she's coming up with a lot of good points.
Making my nostrils flare.
Just on various topics.
She's an intelligent woman, and she does have good points. She does. I just hate when people are fickle, but yeah, she is a very intelligent person, and I'm glad that she does bring certain matters to light. It's not that she does not contribute any good, but I don't know that
she's got some flaws.
But that white thunder got her acting doing the wrong things sometimes. You know
what? I just came across a new term, and maybe you've been up on this term. Did you know that is called swirling?
Yeah. Where you learn that, baby boy?
LJ, have you heard of the term swirling? I've never heard that term before.
Never.
Y'all ain't never heard of swirling?
Never. And I think it might be something that mainly gets used by bronze women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that's why I haven't heard about it before properly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you're saying that it's the swirling that's got her so fickle on certain issues.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I believe that has an influence, you know what I mean? But she definitely brought up a good point, and especially with her, calling out people such as Kim Kardashian. I mean, I don't have anything personally to say about that woman, but I'm like, if you could speak up on Kanye and all these other things, and y'all are so disgusted about other things that people are saying and which are true, then you should be disgusted with the fact that a human being could put their imagination to create this out of all things that you could do to advertise your whatever product you're putting out, whatever service, clothing, whatever. You decide that you are going to prop children on a bed, and then that little girl looked like a little angel. They chose the most innocent looking babies that they could. Like, y'all know what y'all are doing with the papers, but who got the papers though? You're gonna tell me that whoever set that up went and found those papers? Like, no, this was all a team effort. So yeah, everybody needs to be called out. Any brand ambassadors for Balenciaga, you need to be called out. Why are we supporting this brand? They're letting you know who they are up front.
Right.
Where do we know where these funds is going to? How they know they not using these to buy children for sex trafficking on the low? Like some of these, some of this money they're using under the black market. Hypothetically speaking, it could be.
Yeah. 1000%. Don't have me start speculating and stuff. When I put on my little conspiracy hat, all that money is being used for some bullshit. But without proof, I won't go there. But we do have solid proof right here in this story that their intentions are, if at best, misled and sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see what the connection could have been between this product and children for them to put the two together in their ad campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm searching for reasons as to like what sense does it make to even do this. And there is, and so like you said, that there's no excuse. They need to be canceled. That's up to people like you and me and the audience and the social media warriors to cancel these folks, because this cannot and it will not be stood for.
Well, people got to stop wearing their shit. I definitely don't wear they shit. Look, my pockets don't even go that far. But even if they did, I don't really like the stuff anyway. I want to support my own. But yeah, people need to stop buying their shit. So really who it's really going to be up to is these celebrities and these, not even just celebrities, but these wealthy people. You need to, you know what I'm saying? Y'all are the ones supporting this. So them still existing, we don't hear no outrage from that. But then you have backlash and outrage from our own people about simple statements made. I hate to keep bringing that up, but it just baffles me. I'm like, so are we just going to brush this under the rug, just like we brushed Brett Favre under the rug, who supposedly paid that money? How are we brushing these things under the rug? What these people have done is outright disgusting. That's disgusting that somebody said, ooh, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take these children and strap these teddy bears that have sexual, this is sexual. It's all implied sexually. When you wear those things and then they put the gag balls in the mouth. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right. To mix the images of children into any of that is to me it warrants the death penalty.
Stoning.
By stoning, 1000%.
Y'all over here thinking about children like that. All that shit that teddy bear got on, that shit stays in my bottom drawer. That's the type of stuff that you don't let out. You don't let nobody know. You know what I'm saying? So why are y'all putting that? Well, how do y'all put that with kids?
Yeah.
That's bottom drawer type of shit. Y'all couldn't find no adults to do that. All the models that y'all got. So there's definitely something sick behind it. Somebody really, and I feel like that's, like you said, that's death penalty. So what can we do? Blacksmiths, what can we do to help start canceling these kind of brands? I mean, in one of those ways, we start shifting our money towards and shifting our economics towards these luxury Black brands. There's so many nice Black brands.
Right. I love that solution, Joy. That's a wonderful solution.
Thank you.
Money talks, y'all. Money talks. So take y'all money away from this brand that's advocating for the sexualization of children. I mean, the thing about these companies that makes them extra accountable for the ills of the world is that they have major influence, influence and power to normalize these things. You know what I mean? Say they didn't get called out for this. Okay, this is just one more piece of normalization of children being abused. You know what I mean? And that in itself is the biggest crime. It's not that these acts take place, although those crimes are huge, of course, but it's arguably a bigger crime to normalize such acts, because the normalization of violence in our community, the normalization of sex trafficking or sexual abuse,
hypersexualism,
the normalization of all these different things is I would argue the biggest threat of them all, because then it becomes commonplace to see this stuff. Then when you do see it and something in you is like, oh, that doesn't sit well, you just brush off because it's normal. Instead of taking a stand against it, you no longer feel the need to, because you see it in so many places. So yeah, round up the CEOs, round up the president of Balenciaga. Let's line them up.
They're wrong. They're wrong.
Come out, get a stone.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make our feelings known.
Yeah.
Grab a stone and make your feelings known.
I love that.
Put that on the shirt.
Yes.
And anybody that you see wearing Balenciaga, maybe have a little bit of compassion if they didn't know about this story, but definitely
they don't get no
open your mouth and let them know what's up. Let them know about the brand that they're rocking and promoting.
Right, because essentially they're promoting they're promoting sex with children. Exactly. That is what that ad is. Exactly. It's saying have sex with children and use these things. How you put a teddy bear and you mix a teddy bear with? I'm even wondering with the kids who was in the ad. Like, I'm like, did they know what they were? But that's another.
Yeah, that's on the parents of those children. But we definitely denounce all this bullshit that's happening with Balenciaga, and we're gonna move on to the next segment, or the next news story that's been in the news lately. Over the past couple of weeks, the nation has been riddled with a number of mass shootings. The first one, I believe, that took place a few weeks ago was on the campus of the University of Virginia. This was a football player who was the assailant, and he shot a number of people, killing three players. I'm sorry, killing. I believe he killed two and shot himself, making it three people that died. They were all football players for the University of Virginia. I still have yet to hear the details of what the motive was. I believe I did hear some whispers that he was getting bullied or something like that by these players, but that's one of the stories. The next shooting that took place happened, I believe, last Sunday in a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs. He ended up wounding about 25 people and killing six. Killed 6 people, wounded 5, wounded 25. Matter of fact, I apologize for the details that I'm fucking up. He killed 5, wounded 25 people. So, and then the latest incident took place in Virginia again, Chesapeake, Virginia, where a night shift manager at Walmart walked into his staff room and killed 5 or 6 people, including himself.
He killed himself as well.
Yeah. So, all these stories are, like we just talked about, commonplace. You may have heard about these stories and didn't really think much about it. But this is the danger of having something become commonplace. Nothing gets done to fix it once it's at a place of normalcy. And we are in a dire situation here in this country because incidents like this are quite normal.
Right.
And I would argue, and this might be seen as problematic. I can see somebody twisting these words, but I would argue that it will continue to be commonplace and normalized until it is somebody with power to change these circumstances and the legislation, their family members getting killed by a mass shooter in order for these things to care. As long as politicians don't have to feel the effects of this themselves, they're not going to do anything about it. You know, it's only the common people who are having to deal with this. And because it's only an issue of the common people and not the elites, not the rich, people that actually move the ball forward with issues, it'll continue. It'll continue to happen. God forbid, there's probably going to be another mass shooting sometime this week. That's just the state of that we're at in America. It's a terrible combination to mix a country that does not receive universal health care and included in that health care, mental health care, and guns galore. That's a terrible recipe. That's a recipe for disaster. You got a bunch of unhinged, untreated people with gun access in most states that you live in this country. And it's not going. These incidences are not going to change anytime soon. I'm sorry to break it to you if you're holding your breath on that one. It's not going to change. Right. Joe Biden last week came out with a statement saying he's going to try to get some things pushed through or whatever, but nothing has really been done by him or expressed by him even that gives me much faith at all that something's actually going to take place or that they actually take this seriously.
I don't think that they do. You know, I mean, by the way, Jeezy just mentioned that there was a shooting in the mall in ATL yesterday. And it's like, it's just so normalized at this point because nothing's being done about it. I mean, you know, I'm like, honestly, I was crushed about the older elderly Black people that were murdered in the grocery store.
Oh yeah,
the grocery shopping
that took place in May.
Then the church, the mass shooting in the church, and then they buy the boy some Burger King. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Then you have the children at the school. And from what's being heard is that it took so long for there to even be some kind of response. And a lot of people are saying that guns are the issue. I think that there can be a couple of truths at the same time. I do think that guns there is an issue with, like you said, guns being in the possession of people who are mentally unhinged, there are so many people who are not diagnosed, who don't want to be diagnosed. You know what I'm saying? People who have anger issues. A lot of people aren't mindful and say, you know what, let me count to 10. Let me calm myself down. Let me, so a lot of people who don't take accountability. So you have a combination of these things and all these innocent people are dying. How does you're not mentally okay if you feel comfortable taking a firearm in somewhere and taking it out and pointing it at anybody?
At innocent people. The only time a gun should be drawn, exactly. The only time a gun should be used is if it is in self-defense.
So in that sense, I'm like, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't have guns. But, people want to have guns to protect themselves from the government and the military, but we're not even using those guns for that. You know what I'm saying? You're using your guns for what? Killing and hunting shit and killing other people. It's just, the mass shootings is scary. And it honestly, I don't know if y'all remember. Do you remember it was one of those Batman movies that had just come out?
Yeah, and that took place in Colorado.
Damn, really? Damn, there's got to be some type of connection or something. I mean, not trying to, but yeah. So it's just, and it's become so common. I remember when these things first happened, and it seemed scattered, and you're like, what? And now they're just so common. And I feel like the turning point of not giving any fucks is after that school with those innocent babies. I mean, I can't imagine like what they were feeling, you know, and the teachers, everybody who was there is fucked up for life.
Yeah.
It's not okay. And it's creating a cycle. It's creating this unhealthy cycle. Who knows down the line who's going to use a firearm to take their own life from grief? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just so, and like you said, it's going to take something like somebody up there and not just one person getting murked. It's going to take like a few family members, just like how we have to deal with family members, not a family member.
Right.
Just crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. You know, things like this really shed light on the lack of fucks given, you know, from
Right.
the power structure.
Zero.
They don't care. You know, like all the mass shootings that have taken place over the course of history, specifically in the past 30 years, none of them hurts as much as seeing the shooting that happened in that school at Uvalde. None of them hurts as much as the school shooting at it was in where was it? I want to say it was in New Jersey or it was on the east side, but the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting that took out like 25 kids.
Oh yeah.
You know, like again, we're back at this subject of our youth and what we're doing to protect our youth. And it seems like more and more these power structures and these entities, they do not care about our youth. And as I've reiterated time and time again here on this platform, our youth is our greatest commodity.
They are.
It's our greatest commodity, and we should take it as an absolute slap in the face and an assault on our lives when we or the power structure is doing something that is counter to protecting those kids.
Right. Right. Like there should have been immediate action. Immediate. You know, like the same action that you guys are taking when people are making these comments that are hurting your heart. You know what I'm saying? But you have innocent babies who are passing away, and y'all are, and all you have is what? And then on top of that, the gunmen are taking their lives. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes I've wondered, I'm like, okay, are some of these inside jobs? I mean, I hate to say that because you know, and I know we got to, you know, go to the next, but just thinking about how they have found different ways that they want to impose martial law. And this was mentioned as one of the tactics, you know what I'm saying? We have all these shootings going off. This is such a good introduction to saying, you know what, this gotta go, you know, maybe saying certain firearms gotta go and you can only have this. So yeah, it's definitely something that we definitely need to circle the block back on this one and you know, like pose some type of solution as to how we can protect our youth. You know what I mean? They we shouldn't be afraid to do common things like go to the grocery store or go to school.
Right. I will say before we move on to the next subject that a lot of solutions that, or not a lot, but one solution that has been posed in this environment of nonstop mass shootings is having a no holds barred access to guns for citizens. You know what I mean? Like they say that the best way to stop a man with a gun is with a gun. That's definitely a conservative talking point, which I'm open to hearing somebody discuss further.
Yeah,
you know, I know that's a hot topic or a hot take because we live in a very liberal state. But I mean, you know, who knows? You know, the other solution that has been posed is total banning of guns across the board, which I'm definitely not in favor of either because
me neither. I'm not in favor of that either, but I highly doubt a nigga gonna get up close and start shanking. I don't think everybody's gonna be as quick to do that. There would be less murders, but
I think that's a fact. That's a fact. But there have been, on that note, there have been a string of recent mass stabbings as well.
What?
So I mean, the point, I think the takeaway from today's episode on this subject is that the nation is dealing with a lot of mental instability.
Yeah.
So, you know, the points that I like to always visit on this universal health care that progressives and Democrats as a whole tend to talk about the most, but never really do anything about, we should go ahead and do something about that. Otherwise, we're going to keep seeing shit like this happening. So, I'll leave it at that.
Which actually leads me, ironically, into, it's funny that we're just talking about this. So, you know, I read to you guys earlier, the U.S. is to send Ukraine another 400 million in latest military aid. The new package will include 150 heavy machine guns with special thermals, 155 millimeter artillery, excuse me for messing that up, rounds, 10,120 millimeter mortar rounds, and more than 20 million rounds of small arms ammunition. 400 million.
Very interesting.
Where is the 400 million? What is it? 400 million in like what? Pokemon coins? Where are y'all getting this money? But y'all over here deferring this baby ass promise that Biden, this $10,000
for student loan forgiveness.
For student loans, but you giving, and then on top of that is military aid.
We've talked about this before on the Bronze Room. The military industrial complex continues to enrich the pockets of the owners of these companies and the stockholders of these companies. The companies like Lockheed Martin, companies like there's a few others that I'm not going to be able to name off the top of my head, but you know, there's a lot of money to be made from war, a lot of money. And a piece of us intervening in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is that. Another piece of that is, really, we just don't fuck with Russia, and we're really trying to just get under their skin by contributing so much aid in this conflict. Now, we've talked about this before, and the Ukraine is essentially, just a puppet. You know what I mean? We don't care about the people of the Ukraine. We were only involved in this because we would like to weaken Russia as much as possible.
Right.
So we can have them fighting an endless war, a seemingly endless war that weakens them on some level, even if it's not on a major level. It weakens them on some level so that we can maybe take advantage of that vulnerability at some point. It's been widely talked about that there is no end in sight to this war. Outside of negotiations. And that is something that we aren't even talking about. Russia has come to the table several times throughout this whole conflict saying, hey, all we want to do is negotiate some new terms and we will stop bombing the shit out of you. And under the influence of the U.S., the Ukraine has not gone to the negotiating table with Russia because, the U.S. and NATO as a whole is behind them, whispering in their ear, gassing them up, saying, hey, we want to continue to, it gets pretty messy and it gets kind of complicated in terms of these international affairs. But the message is that, for one, we don't need to be involved in this business. We have nothing to do with the Ukraine. We are wasting money that could be helping people right here, and there's lots of people that need it.
Right.
And we're only making more enemies internationally, not only with Russia, but we're making enemies with Brazil. We're We're making enemies with India. We're making enemies with China. There's an alliance called BRICS, which is it's made up of those three countries. BRIC is BRIC: Brazil, Russia, India, China. And as of last week, I believe there was a G20 summit where Russia was able to get a number of African countries to align with their cause, or at least their economic interest. There's a lot of talk being, in the mix of these countries in the BRICS, along with Saudi Arabia, who's a powerhouse in terms of oil output, of them kind of distancing themselves from the Western alliances and starting their own system, a system that would cripple the American dollar if it goes through. And so, this is really quickly turning into a chess game. And there's going to be, unfortunately, a lot of fallout from it. Because those are powerhouse nations in terms of what they bring to the table. Saudi Arabia with oil, Brazil with oil, Russia with oil. They can put a big dent in. You think our gas prices are high now? Let them further their cause and really put a stop on the output of oil, and you're gonna see about $10 or $11 gas.
Right. I mean, even China, with like a press of a button, China and all its manufacturing stations, you know what I mean? Knowing how to mimic all the things that we make out here. So it's like, that's why everything's made in China, because they're like, no, we're going to make it for you. Anything that you have here no, you don't get a say. So it's like, how many things are really made out here?
Yeah.
How many of our fruits and everything. So it's like, I don't know. I wish I was a little bit better like you, at least knowing all those things, with the alliances and everything like that, because I definitely feel like the US should mind their business. And I also feel like this also might be why, even with the harsh sentence that Brittany Griner got, I recently read that they moved her to a harsher colony in the prison that she's in, one of the strictest ones, where you're like laboring for about 17 hours a day. I don't know what the meals are like, but they basically say that if you don't work up to par, that they're ready to torture you, and they have many different torture techniques. So I feel like in a way she's kind of like collateral, in a way to dangle it, like, look, we have this girl, you know what I mean, and we're going to make sure that her ass suffers, because even though she broke the law, I don't know if I don't think that it's deserving of that punishment. I know she did it in another country that has its own laws, but honestly, Chris, do you think that that's really warranted? Or do you think that it might be something connected to what's going on here?
Yeah, of course not. Brittany Griner is a prisoner of war. Let's make no mistake about it. She's a prisoner.
That's what it is.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And as a result, they will not be making things easier on her out there. As I kind of touched on earlier, when you are in conflict with another nation, you're supposed to set up terms of negotiation, at the very least, in an attempt to create peace.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so with this whole Brittany Griner situation, I think they said that they were trying to exchange a Russian prisoner that we have here for her. And, in my mind,
they don't care about that.
They should have tried. They should have tried to give up more.
Holding her is a power move.
It's a complete power move. And so, in my mind, just off general principle, we should have tried to get her back with more means. You know what I mean? If that meant that we give them 10 Russian citizens, for her to have back, just to save face, if nothing else, just to save face. Like, hey, U.S. citizens, we care about you.
But that just goes to show you the ego of the U.S. Because, like you said before, you're like, okay, we're this. At some point, there needs to be some kind of negotiation because we want peace. Because where are you going from there? You're only going to be arguing. It's only going to be war. I hate war, you know. So, yeah, I don't see it getting any easier for her. But I don't see this ending anytime soon because most of these wars are over resources, and I feel like you said, there needs to be some kind of negotiation. So if you guys couldn't even do that, I can only imagine that y'all are not hearing a damn thing that Russia's saying. Now, I'm not saying I'm choosing sides, but being a citizen here, we don't get to really know what other people know about us. I read comments and people are like, you Americans are dumb. And I mean, I'm sorry for that accent, but that's the accent I don't know. Or a lot of Canadians have said things too, So
yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest thing that I hear from people that travel abroad and when they come back, they give me sentiments of, we are not liked in other countries.
We are not.
People don't like us.
They think that we're prude, that we're selfish,
dumb
as fuck.
Yeah.
You only know English. You're right. I'm so sorry. I want to be trilingual and quadlingual.
Right.
They're right. I'm sorry. Like, trust me. Yeah.
So we got a long way to go in terms of solving this conflict overseas in the Ukraine. But yeah, $400 million.
Bronze people, we just need to run away. Find an island. I wish it was that easy.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But you heard it here first. Blacksmiths, $400 million more dollars going overseas and not to help you. So, take that.
Right.
Feel about it how you will.
I should just cancel his old little raggedy ass, even though he's just a little puppet. Like, you're done, Joey. Y'all over here talking about doing extensions and shit. How come you just can't? You could pay that with your next paycheck. You could pay everybody shit. Come on.
All right. I believe that the student loan forgiveness would have tallied about $45 million.
We just need to stop
caring. Which is a fraction of what we just sent over to the Ukraine.
Right.
It's a fraction.
That's like
so. Or you know what? Matter of fact, it's either $45 million that it would have cost, or it would have helped 45 million Americans. One or the other. I can't remember.
I mean, but it's
either way, we wasting money overseas.
They can't listen. $400 million on guns.
Yeah.
That's sick.
A drop in the bucket.
Not on education, not on homelessness, not on a variety of things. On one thing, and not even for us. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
Maybe, but what do we expect?
Maybe Karen Bass for 2028.
Okay, Karen Bass. Right. I love it. That's right, Chris.
All right. So we're going to wrap things up with the vibe of the week. Joy, do you have anything that you would like to touch on for your vibe of the week?
You know what? I don't know. I don't have anything specific, but I will say that I've been feeling good. I've been feeling more confident. I guess, you know what? I'll touch on confidence. This might actually reach out to somebody. I've always struggled with my confidence. I'm a confident person in general, but when it comes to certain things, I don't have it all there. But lately, I've been staying committed to myself by doing little things, coming through for myself, showing up for myself. And through doing those things, it's built these affirmations of like, I can do it and I am. And I'm taking more pride in who I am. So I've been feeling good about that. I would definitely say my vibe of the week is my confidence leveling up, and it's because I'm actually showing up for myself in different ways.
Hey, I
That's my
love that.
vibe of the week.
I love that. Confidence is
Thank
everything.
you.
Confidence is such an important value to latch on to. Thank you for being transparent and honest,
Yeah.
sharing that with us, because
Thank
that in
you.
itself shows confidence. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Showing vulnerability, if you want to call it
Right.
that, is
That's
confidence.
no, it definitely is. Yeah.
You know, um, I love it. As for me and my vibe of the week, I don't know if there's a word that can sum it up. I guess persistence.
Mm.
Persistence might be the word, but on our story that you can check out if you follow us on Instagram, it's
Yup.
at @the_bronze room. Again, that's at the _bronze room. I posted um, an image of two sneakers just walking one step at a time, I think is what it said underneath it. And that's such a important thing to me as somebody that likes to work out, and a big part of my workout regimen is that cardio. Um, and specifically this week I participated in a 10K run, and it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? I didn't just participate in it. I ran it with my all. You know what I mean? And
Good for you, Chris.
when you're exerting so much energy and force and persistence, it gets tough. It is not easy to persist. The whole definition of persistence is to push through something that is difficult.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But during that run, while I'm even training, doing my cardio on a daily basis, the one thing that I always have in my head is, hey, dog, just put one step in front of the other. We all know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in order to walk or to travel somewhere, you just have to put one foot over the other, one foot in front of the others. Super simple, but to do it again and again and again can raise some difficulty, But if you just simplify it in your mind, it's just one more step that I'm taking. This ain't rocket science. I can take one more step.
Yeah.
And so my message to all the blacksmiths out there would be I don't know where you're at in life. I don't know what goal you're going for, but just put one step in front of the other.
Yeah.
Persist. I know it's hard. I know it ain't easy. You got to take it one day at a time and one step at a time. You know what I mean? You can see that finish line, lock it into your brain, lock it into your focus, and just go forward.
Yeah.
It ain't gotta be a leap. Don't gotta be all accomplished today. Just take one more step forward. Okay, look at me. Blacksmiths out there, I need you to stand up. Okay? And I need you to just take one more step forward towards that goal. Because you can do it. It's in you. You wouldn't have vision if it wasn't in you. You know what I mean? So please do yourself a favor, do your community a favor, because it's bigger than you. Stop thinking it's all about you. It's bigger than you. It's about the people that are witnessing you, people that are looking at you as an example.
Right.
Future generations that might look upon you and your story as their inspiration to get them through their struggle. Just take one more step. You can do it. You can do it. We can do it.
I needed to hear this. Wow. I needed to hear that. Seriously. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. Stop playing around before we have motivational Mondays with you. Stop playing around. That's such an important step. I tell myself that too when I'm working out, or even when I'm going to work. I'm like, one more day, one more hour, one more minute. I can get through this minute. I can get through this step, because when you first start out running, it's easy, right? And you're okay and you have a rhythm, but it's important to keep that rhythm, that breathing, and that thought in your mind. Just one more step. Don't even think about like the finish line. Just think you're in that marathon and enjoy it and do your best. Right. So good for you, though. Good for you, for one, for accomplishing that, because I've never been in one. I've always been afraid to just, but I want to do it.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah, try it out. I
Yeah.
1000% recommend it to anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not in the best shape, just go out there and see what it's all about. And you don't have to run the whole time. You can walk the whole time. And if you
Yeah.
get tired, you can. If you can't put one more step in front of yourself, you can pull over to the side, take a break, get a breather. They handing out waters and everything. But I think in order for anybody, or the result of anybody getting through one of those, it's a confidence builder.
Yeah,
You know
just
what I mean?
like that says.
To piggyback on your vibe of the week, it's a confidence builder. Sometimes in order to build that confidence, we have to overcome something so that we can, so that we can have that medal. We can add that medal onto our chest, or we can add that stripe onto our chest. Confidence comes with accomplishment. So after,
and they're interconnected, because when you're persistent and you keep going, that gives you more confidence. Even if you didn't, that gives you more confidence for the next challenge. I bet when you go to the next one, you're like, I'm gonna keep that same method, and I'm gonna just take it one step at a time, and you're gonna be ready. And then the next one after that, and then before you know it, we can be like, damn, this thing 25K.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then you're gonna be like Forrest Gump. You know what I'm saying? Running the car.
Dog.
Okay, he ran like across the whole states.
Right. Yeah,
I love that,
Chris. Absolutely.
Very encouraging, very motivational. I'm taking that with me through this week. Seriously, I love that.
Please do it. Give us a good report at the end of the week. Please.
I will.
Yeah, we gotta push each other in this world.
Yeah, the blacksmiths felt that, because I felt it.
Good. I'm glad to hear. So that's our show, everybody. Please be safe out here this week. Be happy, be supportive of your brother and your sister, and we'll see you again, same time, same place, on the Bronze Room.
Peace, y'all.